Okay, let's go ahead and do our practice problems for solving and graphing two-step inequalities. 5x minus 3 is greater than negative 18. So let's do our two steps. The first one is adding or subtracting. Well, I see a negative 3. I can do a plus 3 to get it to 0. So those cancel. All that's left on this side is 5x is greater than, and then negative 18 plus 3. You keep the sign negative and you subtract them. So 15, negative 15. Now, all I need to do is get x by itself and get that coefficient to the other side. If I'm multiplying by 5, the inverse operation would be dividing by 5. And it's a positive, so I don't need to change my symbol. It's going to stay. X on that side, because 5 divided by 5 is 1x. And negative divided by a positive stays negative. 15 divided by 5, 5, 10, 15, 3. So I'm going to find the negative 3. Well, if this is 0, this is negative 2, negative 4. It has to be between them. So I'm going to put my circle and I'm going to leave it open. Why am I leaving it open? Well, because it's not equal to. This is basically saying negative 3 is greater than negative 3? No, so that's why we leave it open. All right. And x has to be greater than negative 3, which means I'm going to go to the right on the number line. And don't forget your arrow to show that it could keep going. Let's look at number 2. I hope that you saw that the minus 7 is the first one you need to do. So negative 2x, that's like negative 2 times x, minus 7 is less than or equal to 15. The opposite of negative 7 to get us to a 0 is adding 7. Remember, you must add 7 to both sides of the inequality. That equals 0. All that's left is negative 2x is less than or equal to 15. Now, we're going to... sorry, did I do something? Oh, I didn't add it. So what is 15 plus 7? It is 22. Okay, now we're dividing by a negative 2. Why are we going to divide by a negative 2? Because right now it's negative 2 times x. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing, and we want to get this negative 2 to the other side so that positive x is by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. X, 1x, because negative 2 divided by negative 2 is a positive 1x. And I need to change my symbol to be greater than or equal to because I'm dividing by a negative. 22 divided by a negative 2. Well, it's a negative because it's a negative and a positive. And if I counted by 2s, I would get 11 times. So, all right, so let's put it on our graph. Find negative 11. Well, if here's negative 10 and here's negative 12, here's negative 11. And I'm going to close it because it's equal to. Negative 11 can be equal to negative 11. And let's see, x has to be greater than or equal to negative 11, which means I'm still going to the right on my number line. Greater than. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 says 10 is less than 28 minus 3b. You are going to get rid of this 28 first, because remember, the coefficient touching the b, that's what we're going to do later, and it's a negative. Keep that in mind. How do I get 28 to be 0? Well, I subtract 28, and that brings me to 0. And I'm going to subtract 28 on the other side of the inequality sign. 28 minus 28 is 0. 10 minus 28, I keep the sign negative, and I subtract and get negative 18. I'm going to bring down my sign and everything that's left. All right, so now I got to get rid of this negative 3. Right now it's negative 3 times b. So I'm going to divide by negative 3 on both sides. Negative divided by a negative means it's positive, and 18 divided by 3, hopefully if you count by 3s, you know that it would be 6 times. Because I'm dividing by a negative, my symbol is going to change to a greater than, right? And then, so a negative divided by a negative 3, negative 3 divided by negative 3 is a positive 1, so all that's left is b. So 6 is greater than B. If it's hard for you to figure out where to put it on the graph, remember, you can flip it. If I flipped it, it would be B is less than, because remember, if the alligator mouth is eating the 6, it still has to eat the 6. B is less than 6. So find the 6. Hopefully you found it over here between 4 and 8. We're going to leave it open because it's not equal to, it can't be 6 is what that means. It can be less than 6, but it can't be 6. It could be 5.9, but it cannot be 6. Okay, so B has to be less than 6, which means we're going to the left on the number line. And there we go. I hope that you did okay with these. Go ahead and do your reflection and then keep going on your work.